Hello, it's Mari and Inuit, and this is Lucky Last, the podcast about reinvention, bold decision, and creating a life that's actually yours. Today's solo episode is one I've been sitting with for a little while. It's personal, it's real, and I hope it lands wherever you are in your current journey. Because I want to talk about quitting. More specifically, why I decided to quit something that looked perfectly fine from the outside. And I'm talking here about my job and my career that I built from so many years. There is this version of success that we are all taught to chase. And I mentioned this in a previous episode, especially women are meant to believe that success is one way and not another. For me, I had it, or at least the version that people saw. It looked stable, productive, I was ticking all the boxes, I was doing well, I was making money, I was traveling, I was in leadership, but the truth is not only was very fast paced, but it was as well draining mentally. I was stuck in a position that I worked so hard for. I spent years building my working brand, being recognized as a strong asset, but I actually was losing drive and traction. It all felt off. Not dramatic, not toxic, just wrong. Like I was slowly becoming a version of myself that I didn't recognize anymore. It's a weird space to be in because when everything looks good, it's hard to justify walking away. But internally, mentally, I felt this growing disconnect, a quiet, persistent sense that this wasn't it. I kept asking myself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be grateful, knowing the current economic situation? Why can't I just enjoy? I have a steady salary, I'm appreciated, I have flexibility. And I remember reading something online saying, if your job lets you attend your kid's school concert or your kid's medical appointment, you hit the jackpot. And I felt very guilty because I had this flexibility, but I was just not happy. I didn't feel fulfilled anymore. I think I had outgrown it. And it took me some time to look really at myself and listen to my thoughts and do something about it. It didn't come like that. Of course, I had these thoughts for a little while, but it took me some time to really, really accept them and starting to do something about it. So there was not some dramatic breakdown or rock bottom moment, nothing like that happened. It's just one day I was driving back from a customer meeting, like dozens of other customer meetings, and this thought came in. You don't want to do this anymore. I said that many times before, don't get me wrong, but that time it hit different. It was more like a relief, simply because I realized that I knew my true purpose and what I really wanted to do. So I finally let myself believe it. I had pushing down that moment for months, if it's not years, probably because I didn't have a thought of a plan B that will feel aligned with me. And I actually started to realize that my podcast could be my plan B. I could monetize the podcast. I could do something about it. Even if I didn't have a plan, even if I didn't have any experiences, I just felt like this was the right thing to go to after that. It was not easy because I spent years to, create this Mari working brand. I was working so hard for this company. My husband used to tell me if I could have 2 employees like that, my business would be so successful. I was treating this company like it was my own company. So how could I ever think that I will give up on all the foundation that I built to be where I was in this company? But sometimes when you know it's time, it's time. I just could not feel aligned with their mission, and I could not feel aligned with myself. And I think this is the most important thing. I kept telling myself that this was not where I was meant to be. This is not what I was meant to do right now. And that moment when I realized actually that this is not where I should be, the truth rise, It didn't feel like defeat, it felt like relief, like I could finally breathe again. As I said, I didn't have all the answers. I was not sure exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that my next step would be towards the right direction. It was not easy to quit. I had to do it twice because, of course, tried to save me, and I'm really appreciative of that. So I tried for a few months again, but it didn't work out. And at first, it felt like betrayal until it felt like freedom. So at first, I expected things to fall apart, but actually things started to fall into place. I gave myself permission to not have all the answers, to be in the between, to get curious again. And from that space, new ideas started flowing. I started reconnecting to what I actually wanted, what felt true. And I started to feel creative again. I had this urge to create, to paint, to be creative, to do many things. And this was amazing because for years I was telling myself, oh, you're not a creative, Mary. Actually, I am. I just didn't listen to that voice, but I am. So, of course, it didn't happen over time. It took some time to happen. And as I said, quitting gave me space to rebuild, not from fear or habit, but from truth. And I think it's important to highlight that outgrowing something you once wanted so bad is not failure, it's growth. And letting go is not giving up, it's making room for what next. And here is what I want you to know. If you are listening or watching to this and you are in that place, letting go of what no longer fits is one of the bravest things you will ever do. It's not weak, it's not selfish, it's not a waste. It's the start of something new, and you get to decide what that is. So that's my story that I wanted to share today. Not to be dramatic, not to be motivational, just to be honest, because I like sharing things with you and you are following my journey from the beginning, and I think it's important for me to share where I'm at the moment. Because sometimes the thing we need to hear most is you are allowed to quit. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change your mind and your life. So if this spoke to you, I'd love to know. Come say hi on Instagram or share on YouTube if you are watching on YouTube. You can as well share this episode with a friend who is in that weird in-between phase where I've been before. And as always, thank you so much for listening to Lucky Last, where I just don't talk about success. I talk as well about what it takes to find a life that actually feels like yours. Thank you again and see you next time.